a narrative is barren if dialogue is taken out of it, because dialogue actually bridges between story and action in drama. And then you get a sense, of course, in both the Neoplatonic tradition, especially in the Neoplatonic tradition, but in other similar traditions, of a post-narrative form of dialogue. And dialogue takes us above the way in which narrative is centered upon an exchange between egocentric perspectives, but that it is possible to move to something that is a non-egocentric perspective. These are, of course, the mystical experiences, and therefore narrative is not the appropriate way of talking about them. And that leads me to this weird kind of narrative, and I mentioned this to you, Guy, right? Parable, in the work of Sally McFadden and others, about how parables look like narratives, but they're narratives that destroy narrative. And the point about them is that they don't stabilize, and they're supposed to jet in use beyond narrative into the kingdom of God, to use one of Jesus' famous phrase, or to use the Buddhist sense, the other side of the river, right? In which you throw the raft of narrative away. So I think all of
similar
that,
function is like a koan.
parables have a koanic function to them. Now, the interesting thing about koans is they don't run off of narrative. And this is really interesting if you think about it, you can have a parable that takes you out of narrative into this other place. And you can also have a dialogue, what looks like a dialogue, that explodes as a dialogue, because the master asks you a question. It looks like you're supposed to be entering into a conversation, but it actually explodes the dialogue from within, and you're blown into, right, into this other space.